This is the fourth video of your lesson 1 of your main reader Hornbill's A Portrait of a Lady. We are going to talk about the next phase in the lives of the grandmother and the author, where the the grandson is going to the university, and because of that there is a bigger gap in their relationship, and how gracefully the grandmother accepts this change in her life and in their relationship. When I went up to university, I was given a room of my own. The common link of friendship was snapped, was broken. My grandmother accepted her seclusion with resignation. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. She kept herself busy in spinning the wheel. From sunrise to sunset, she sat by her wheel, spinning and reciting prayers. Only in the afternoon she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. Only in the afternoon she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows while she sat in the veranda breaking the bread into little bits. She would feed the sparrows and take a break from spinning the wheel. While she sat in the veranda breaking the bread into little bits, hundreds of little birds collected round her, creating a veritable bedlam of chirrupings. So there was a chirping of many birds. Bedlam means chaotic sound. When so many birds flock around together, so there is a very very chaotic sound. So there was also this kind of a chaotic sound in the veranda of the author's house, because the grandmother used to feed to the sparrows crumbs of bread. Some came and perched on her legs, look at the comfort level, others on her shoulders, some even sat on her head. She smiled but never shooed them away. It used to be the happiest half hour of the day for her. When I decided to go abroad for further studies, this is the next phase. The first phase was when the grandmother and the grandson were living together in the village. The next phase was when they moved to the city. They were living in the same house, and the grandmother and the grandson shared the same room. The next phase was in the city itself. They were living in the same house, but the grandmother and the grandson were now living in separate rooms, because probably the grandson had grown up. He must, be wanting his own privacy. His education was now, he was pursuing higher education in his university. And now the next phase, when he is going abroad for further studies, I was sure my grandmother would be upset. See, actually, it does happen like this with elderly people. They usually find it difficult to accept change and adjust to change, maybe in their daily routine, in their habits, in the way people behave, talk with them. So the slightest change in the lives of the elderly people is difficult for them to accept and absorb. So they do show their uh, uh, they show that they aren't able to adjust to the change. They will show some kind of resilience. They will try to pull back and themselves and not accept the change. But here the grandmother is not doing any such kind of a thing. She is accepting everything, especially when it is related to a very 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 special relationship which she shared with her grandson. She is not creating any kind of a fuss. She is not arguing with anyone. She is not revolting. She is simply accepting the things as they are and moving on in life. Okay. I was sure my grandmother would be upset. I would be away for 5 years. She had been with him from the time when he was very young, all these years, and now for 5 years she wasn't going to see the grandson. It's a big, big, big change, setback, difficult to accept reality for the grandmother, and see how gracefully she accepts it. And at her age, one could never tell. But my grandmother could. She was not even sentimental. She came to leave me at the railway station but did not talk or show any emotion. Her lips moved in prayer. Her mind was lost in prayer. Her fingers were busy telling the beads of her rosary. Silently she kissed my forehead, and when I left, I cherished the moist imprint of the kiss on the cheek as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. So he just cherished that beautiful, I must say, kiss that the grandmother gave to the grandson. But that was not so. He thought that probably he might not be able to see the grandmother again. This was there at the back of his mind because she was so old. After 5 years, I came back home and was met by her at the station. She did not look a day older. She still had no time for words, and while she clasped me in her arms, I could hear her reciting her prayers. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moments were with the sparrows whom she fed longer, and with frivolous means joking, rebukes means just giving one or two absurds, passing absurds, but jokingly. She did not mean them when she was dealing with the sparrows, feeding them crumbs of bread. In the evening, a change came over her. She did not pray for first time in so many years. Either she was praying in her inaudible pray, or she was praying in that sing-song manner. Fine. And today was the first time when she did not pray. She collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum, and started to sing. For several hours, she thumped the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum and sang of the home singing of warriors.